Hey, welcome to this week's episode of Talk the Music. This week we have a very special guest. It's a singer-songwriter called Maz O'Connor. She's doing very exciting things in the folk world, and she's just released her third album called The Longing Kind. So Maz is going to be talking to us about her experiences, her musical influences, and what folk music means to her. And make sure you watch to the end, because I've got a little game for Maz where I'm going to be putting her songwriting skills to the test.
Hi, my name's Maz O'Connor. I'm a singer-songwriter. I started playing piano when I was maybe 5 or 6, but then I had a horrific experience with my first piano exam where I just wept all the way through it, so I gave up. And then when I was a teenager, I started singing in choirs, and then I took up the guitar when I was about 18. I wrote my first song when I was about 3 years old. It was called Roses in the Garden, and I had a whatticism. So it's woses in the garden, kind of goes like that. But I seriously started writing songs when I was, I think when I first fell in love, cringe, when I was probably like 16, 17. The way I understand it is kind of music of and for and by the people, and it's not owned by anybody, it's owned by everybody. You could argue that Kendrick Lamar is folk music because he's singing about his community, about his kind of social struggle, and that in terms of thinking about what traditionally the content of folk songs has been, then you could say that he's a folk singer. I'm not sure he would want that label, but I'm just looking for a connection to the story and to the narrative. Am I drawn emotionally to this song? Often they end up kind of being like women's story songs, because I think it's important to kind of put women's stories back into our kind of social history. Politically, there are things I wouldn't sing, and also I wouldn't really sing songs in which like they have a tumble in the hay and then the woman gets pregnant or clingy and the guy's like, whoa there. Women's suffering was a huge part of their place in folk songs. Women kind of, they get scorned and then they like kill their boyfriends. I'm just a bit like, that's not winning. Like shooting somebody isn't winning. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, I was nominated for the Horizon Award, which is for Best Newcomer. It's really exciting because a lot of people that I really admire have been nominated in the Folk Awards before, so it's nice company to be amongst. Yeah, I do have a connection with Shakespeare's music because I worked for the Royal Shakespeare Company. I was in As You Like It, and I was singing songs that were written by Laura Marling. Well, she wrote the music, Shakespeare wrote the words. A good duo there. I sang with them for about 6 months in Stratford. So I played recently in the Liverpool Philharmonic Hall. That was really lovely because my dad is Liverpool Irish, so that was kind of like a home gig. That was really special. And I was singing with the Liverpool Phil Youth Choir. Shout out. You were great. I really like playing at the Green Note in Camden. It's a tiny, tiny little venue just around the corner from Cecil Sharp House. But that's always a really beautiful, intimate gig. And it feels really full.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter how many people are there.
Yeah.
I really love a band called The Gloaming. They're Irish-American. They play traditional music. It's kind of got a contemporary music feel. And it's just completely beautiful music. They're amazing. So I really love Joanna Newsom. New Sufjan Stevens album is amazing. The Spice Girls.
Yeah.
Atomic Kitten. Regina Spektor, when I started to have an idea about actual music, and then Imogen Heap. My mum bought me a Bob Dylan album when I was about 15. I remember my brother coming in and being like, please turn that off, it's horrible.
Which one was it?
An early one, with the harmonica.
Yeah. Pre-Judas.
Yeah. I think for a lot of musicians, that's the challenge. It's to write really good individual songs, but the album really has a hold over us. I don't know if that's a kind of a tradition. I wrote all of these songs within quite a particular time period, and listening to the songs, they all spoke to each other. There are interludes between songs, so that they're kind of bound together, and melodies repeat and come back later on in the album. They all kind of came together as part of one experience. So that's why I wanted to make an album as a whole. A lot of these songs we use to bind communities together in hard times and in good times. That spirit from the music, that's what I think is important. That is there for you if you want to be inspired by how people create and pass on to each other communal music that belongs to everybody. I think that's really empowering for people. Okay, so the BBC Performing Arts Fund Fellowship started up as part of like the Fame Academy back in the day, and it was the money that was saved up from people phoning in to vote on Fame Academy and later Strictly Come Dancing, and it was used to support a lot of up-and-coming young musicians from all genres to kind of help them progress to the next level of their career. Adele had one.
Does she?
Yeah.
And where's she now?
Whatever happened to her, man?
Yeah. Whatever happened to her? R.I.P. Alright, so it's time for the game. Basically the idea is we're going to play a game of consequences, and this is when one person writes down one half of the story and the other person writes down the other, and together what we're going to do is we're going to form a brand new idea for a folk song. The catch is we've got to write this song in 60 seconds, and I promise We didn't work any of this out before, we just literally got two halves of the story, put it together and made a song. Alright, so here we go, let's see how this game's gonna work. Because folk songs are made up of narratives, we're gonna make our own narrative from a little game, and together we'll make a new folk song. Okay. So there's no pressure at all. Okay.
Adjective for a man. Sturdy.
Oh no, you're not supposed to say, that's... I'm gonna give you this.
I write the song on my own.
We can write it together. Adjective for a man. Sturdy Steve, that's great already. Good start. Met stocky Gretel in a field of hay. He wore a life jacket. Okay. She wore blue stockings. He said to her, let's make hot dogs.
Okay.
And she said, no thank you. Cause. They flew off in a rocket as the world ended. Never go a fumbling.
A fumbling?
A tumbling.
Oh, that's meant to be a tumbling.
A fumbling would work as well. Never go tumbling in a field of hay.
They definitely diverged towards the end.
Yeah.
You can see mine is more rooted in the folk tradition.
I was kind of going for like a sci-fi gourmet hot dog feel. So together I think it makes like a new age folk song.
Oh, yeah.
Should we try it? Yeah, I don't know. Should we get the guitar or?
Okay.
Okay, and magically we have a guitar. So this beautiful song is going to be called Sturdy Steve and Stocky Gretel.
As I was walking in the marketplace, I heard a man called Sturdy Steve in the field of hay.
Yes. And then Stocky Gretel decided they should meet. And he got out his life jacket and got some meat because they had a barbecue with some gourmet hot dogs.
But Gretel said, no thank you.
Then they flew off as the world ended, and the world said,
never
go a fumbling, tumbling in the hay. Or fumbling.
Never go
Fumbling in the hay. Yeah!
Wow.
That's good. I think I might be too tall for this. Oh well. Anyway, hopefully that recorded. Thank you so much to Maz for coming and taught the music, and if any of you want to listen to any of her stuff, I'm going to put links down below to the iTunes, the Spotify, and whatever else there is out there, so go and listen to the album, please buy it, it is seriously, seriously good, and I'm not just saying that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next Monday in the next episode of Talk the Music. Even if you're not super knowledgeable about music, there's a pretty strong guarantee that you've probably heard a folk song in your life. They can take on the form of a nursery rhyme or a church hymn, and a lot of the Christmas carols that we know today, they came from the folk tradition too. And that's why they're so memorable. They sort of had to be catchy, otherwise they would die out.